All right, check it out. I hope you can hear me. I'm going live. I didn't want to go live, but uh, I'm forcing myself to go live. Um, I'm in Montreal. I'm in the park right next to my house in the East End. It's pretty empty, but it's nice. It's going to be a rainy day, so you know, before it starts to rain really hard, I'm gonna get in a daily walk. You know, my 10,000 steps. All right, check it out. So I've been wanting to do a stream just to air out some of my grievances, just to air out a little bit of the reality that I'm going through, you know, that I imagine a lot of people are going through. Um, so I titled it Freelance Reality because I've been working freelance for the past 2 years, you know, after working corporate for a very long time, over 10 years. And it's a tough go at it because the market is so saturated, you know. Well, there's many reasons, you know, um, why it's difficult, you know, competition, but that was expected. So lots of things I expected are coming true, you know. I'm feeling them for the first time. So um, freelance reality, what that means is that you're basically looking for contracts day to day, you know. Um, in order to make money, you need contracts, contracts for what you do, you know. So one of the first things that's required is that you let people know what you do, you know. And even doing that is already difficult, you know, because what you do sometimes it's not very clear, you know. um, I've been making videos for, let me see, I got into film school in 2007, but I was making videos since 2005, so basically for 20 plus years I've been making videos for 20 plus years. Um, Usually for other artists, I go to concerts and I film, and sometimes I make music videos. Um, I studied cinema, so I've been helping a lot of people on film sets, usually independent films, never anything Hollywood or big, nothing big like that. But all of this, people must be aware of that, you know. So it's important you have a website or you have a resume, you have something where people can see your credentials, you know. So that's step one, you know. Then step two for freelance reality is show people that you're active, show people that you're putting out work, show people that you're helping other people. If nobody's giving you contracts, then create your own little video, create your own little stream, and show people that you're active. Because people today, especially with the cell phone reality, they're just focused on themselves, you know. And if you can capture a little bit, like a tiny second of their attention, and when you capture their attention, you're actually showing that you're being active in your craft, that makes a big difference, you know. So step two is, yeah, show people, demonstrate your craft, demonstrate your progress. It sounds easy to say, but in actuality it's also really hard to do, you know, because we all have like our reservations about the work that we do. Some of us are perfectionists, so we don't really want to show stuff that's unfinished, you know. But my perspective is like, forget about those reservations and just be really open and vulnerable and open to criticism. And the reality is that most people will not care, but there will be a little tiny fragment of people that eventually will catch on, you know. Something about you will just resonate with them, and they'll catch on, but it's very important to demonstrate. So stay active. Um, that was step two. Step three of the freelance reality is look for contracts. Reach out to people. Um, Reach out selectively, don't just blindly send messages. But if you resonate with somebody, if you see there's an opportunity, whether it's paid or unpaid, do your thing, because you never know where that connection is going to lead to, you know? So let's go back 3 steps. Step one, what was step one again? Uh, I forgot what step one was. Step two was demonstrate your skills. So uh, be active on social media, be active in real life as well. Go to events, just make yourself visible, And step three, reach out. So that's kind of the freelance reality, And there's going to be phases where it's kind of dry. It's kind of dry. And during those phases, it's normal to retreat into yourself, but use that as a creative engine. Use that self reflection to come up with creative ways to make yourself visible, creative ways to reach out to people. So that's kind of my take on the freelance reality. At the same time, I'm applying for jobs. Sometimes I'm applying for jobs I know I'm not going to get, Um, that's part of the process too, You have to reach out. What's important is to have that that reaching out, that connection that potentially uh, gives you some feedback from the real world, So I apply for jobs even though I feel like I'm not fit for them, Um, I send out emails to companies like, "Hey, are you guys looking for this or that?" Um, just be communicative, communicate, the worst that people do is they don't reply, but that's fine. But out of 100 emails, at least five are going to reply, So there could be opportunities there. The other thing I do is that I fill out applications, There's often call for projects, small galleries, big galleries, museums, just contests, Fill out their applications, Sometimes it gets really frustrating. You don't know what to write. You want to be as honest as possible. That's fine. Take your time doing it. Sometimes I sit down to do an application, and for 3 hours I just write one sentence because it's because I'm processing what I'm actually doing. And there's lots of frameworks that are heavy when you're trying to be open and honest in describing your work or describing a project, So just stick with it. Don't give up. It's obviously going to take more than one day. Sometimes it takes 2 weeks, Work at it, not every day, but work at it diligently, and work at it with concentration and focus, So that's another thing, applications, call for projects, So um, a lot of the work I'm describing right now in the freelance reality is work that you do alone, And that's kind of tough because you're working alone. You don't have a feedback mechanism. So my recommendation is make friends with people who you think are going through the same thing as you, with people who have a lifestyle that's similar to yours, with other freelance people. Because connecting with freelance people, you can exchange tips, And I have a few friends who are also doing the freelance thing, have a part time job, and we apply to the same projects, to the same galleries, and some of them get it, some of them don't. And getting that feedback, it connects you to a reality. And it's important to stay connected to some kind of reality, what someone else is going through, so you can kind of reflect on your reality. And sometimes it gives you hope, sometimes it makes you cynical. Um, you go through a gamut of emotions, but that's part of the process, Um, at least you're getting feedback. At least you don't feel too isolated, So My point is that doing this freelance reality work, it can be very isolating, um, but there's always a light at the end of the tunnel. It's always temporary. Um, so far, I've gotten two acceptances in the past 6 months. A little bit more than that in the past 8 months. And when I got those, they were actually very motivating. Um, I became really energetic, and it made me learn a lot about the process of exhibiting, of creating a work of art, of finding a process to create something. Um, all of those steps are experience that make you even better when you get your second acceptance, your third acceptance, and so on and so on. So, my point is that despite all these obstacles, um, the isolation, the rejections, because you get a lot of rejections too, um, just keep at it. Take a break when you need to, free your mind, just focus on something else, um, but go back at it. I'll give you a tip. Something I like to do when I'm writing applications is that instead of writing, instead of just like starting to write sentences, etc., and like describing the project, what I like to do is just write keywords. So I write long list of keywords, sometimes like 35, 45 keywords, and then I read those and I integrate those words, and then naturally sentences start coming. Uh, that's my process. Everyone has their different processes. I used to use AI to write my stuff, but it doesn't feel as honest. Using AI to write your art applications, it doesn't feel honest enough. And I've gotten rejections from applications where I used AI. So I'm like, let me try something else. Let me come up with my own individual voice that's a little bit poetic, a little bit confusing maybe, but at least it's my original voice. And let's see how they feel about it. So that's it. Um, that's what I'm going to say about freelance reality. Um, the other thing I want to talk about is streaming, is putting yourself out there on social media. Nowadays, it's a reality. A lot of people do it. I'm not on TikTok personally, but I see what's going on. I see the TikTok trend of people just speaking directly to the camera like I'm doing now, or making funny videos. Everybody's doing it. You depending on where you live, and especially where I live, Montreal, Canada, it's like the height of I mean the apex of like you know uh, Western development. So it's a reality that everybody has a phone and that everybody has a camera in their phone. And even though so many people are doing it and the chances that people look at you are very slim, I think it's important to do it because at the end of the day, it's still your presence. Nobody can replicate your face. Nobody can replicate what you're saying. Nobody can replicate your speech patterns, you know? So even though it's a digital image and it's part of a doom scrolling stream on social media, it's still you. It's still an image of you. And it's, in a way, the ultimate weapon. Your presence, it's the ultimate weapon, even if it's your virtual presence, because the message you're sharing, it's going to resonate. You'll get feedback. As much as you think that people will ignore you, that's not true. You're going to get feedback. And you don't know where that's going to take you. Human behavior is so unpredictable. You don't know how someone else is going to react. So it's important to plant those seeds across the world, globally, you know. So yeah, I'm gonna try to do more streaming, um, and I'm gonna force myself to do it even when I don't want to do it, because I know that in the long run, this is changing something, you know. Um, I notice a lot of people say, "What can I do about this? What can I do about that? It doesn't concern me." Yeah, you're right. A lot of the shit that's going on nowadays in the world, we feel powerless, you know. But the point is not to change the big things, you know. It's to change the small things around you. If you're able to act in a way where the small things around you are changing, then those small changes can propagate, you know. It's kind of like, what do you call that when you throw a pebble in the water, right? The concentric circles, it propagates, you know. So what you do every day, your actions, even when you're sitting down in front of a computer just writing a stupid application that's frustrating you, that makes a difference. um, you matter. I know it sounds cliche, but you do matter. You know, you make a difference by your actions, even if nobody's watching you, because the world itself is like an imprint, you know. And human action in the world, they have consequences. Just the way I'm moving my hand right now, there's a consequence, you know. And whether that action is violent, whether that gesture is loving, you know, it has a consequence in the world overall. It's just that we don't see it, so we think it doesn't exist, but it does exist, you know. You need to kind of have a blind faith, you know. um yeah, that's something that I wanted to get off my chest, that I've been thinking about. You know, I posted a link last week of a new mini album I put out. Yo, check it out. You like hip hop music? You like Montreal hip hop music? Check it out. It's on Bandcamp. Go check my posts on YouTube. Follow me on Instagram, and you're gonna see all the projects I've been working on. If you like hip hop music, if you enjoy cool beats, cool lyrics, just creativity from somebody who's been in the hip hop scene for since I was 8 years old, basically, you know. So over 30 years almost, you know. So try to like consume stuff that is not very popular. Try to click on stuff that doesn't have a lot of views, you know, because it matters too. Seems like it doesn't at first because it's not popular, but one day it'll be popular, you know. Everything has its own momentum, you know. Everything starts small, you know, and then it blows up. All right, I'm gonna be out. Thank you for listening. That was 20 minute. Yo, of course, Onyx. Yeah, of course I was. Yo, I saw Onyx live. That's why I have the videos on my channel, because the Onyx videos I saw live, dude. They did Last Days live. That's why I posted the actual music video from Last Days, because it was one of the best hip hop performances I ever seen, yo. So shout out to Onyx. If they come to your city, go definitely check them out. They really represent hip hop culture, and their live show is really a tribute to hip hop. They play other hip hop songs, you know. They dance to other hip hop songs, you know. It's really like a celebration of the hip hop culture. So shout out to Onyx, and yep, check me out. I'm gonna be out. Peace out.